Now from the Weather Tracker TV Storm Studios, this is your weather today. Here's Chief Meteorologist William Cole.
All right, well, here we go right out of the gate on this Tuesday, and I tell you what, we have got a busy weather day shaping up. Overall, as we go through the day today, it's going to be a 5-star fall afternoon, brilliantly sunny, on the cooler side of things out there today. But I tell you what, as we get into tonight, we are going to try and make some North Texas weather history. In fact, we're going to be approaching some record lows. We've got a freeze warning in effect for parts of the area. Again, important details we'll be talking about over the next few minutes. But first of all, let's go and talk about this afternoon. And like I mentioned, plentiful sunshine as we go through the day. It will be a cool, kind of a brisk, if you will, northerly wind coming in. And again, a daytime high only right around 64. So again, for those folks who have been waiting for that first fall afternoon of the season, I think we can make the argument it would be today. So 40s out the door this morning. These were your actual morning lows. Again, you can see a couple 30s showing up. In fact, Graham down to 35 degrees cold earlier this morning. But as it turns out, that is just a taste of things to come. Like I mentioned, more in the way of 30s as we start your Wednesday morning. So because of that, we've got freeze warnings in effect here. You can see all of our Red River counties, all of our far eastern counties, locations there. The opportunity of a light freeze will be there by sunrise tomorrow morning. Now keep in mind there's other locations specifically up in the Denton County area that tend to be what we call frost pockets, right? They normally chill down a little bit easier a lot of times in valleys, so do keep that in mind. You know, if you live in one of those, tend or outdoor vegetation. Again, if you need to cover it, bring it in, you know what you need to do, but again, don't be caught off guard by this first possible freeze of the season around the area. So looking across the region, it's fairly quiet this morning, right? We don't have a whole lot going on. There's the front that came through. You can see down off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. You can see a few showers down across parts of the Rio Grande Valley. That has to do with an upper level storm system. Believe it or not, this is a fairly decent upper level storm system. It's the same one that's been stalled out to the west. We talked about it all last week, but if you look carefully here, you can see the dip in the jet stream flow. So that's going to be moving through the deep south of Texas. There's a lot of dry air down there, so it's not going to be a major weather player. Some clouds, a little bit of precip, not impossible there. But what's more impressive here on the water vapor imagery, take a look up there across parts of the Great Lakes region. You can see that comma head spinning around. That is a big, deep area of low pressure. And again, that's going to be causing a lot of active weather for our friends up in the Great Lakes region, and then eventually even over through the New England area as we go over the next several days. But that system, it's in fact pulling away from us here in North Texas, and over the next several days it's really going to be steady as she goes, right? Not a lot showing up. We will have one storm system moving through midweek, but you can see as it comes through, it's going to be dry, right? There's no real moisture for it to work with, so that's not necessarily a big deal. But I tell you what could be a big deal, it's as we get into the end of the weekend, Sunday into early parts of next week, we've got a big upper level storm system. You can see it right there. That's going to be moving through the area, but it's going to be a 1-2 combination punch here, because as I roll this back into motion, take a look at what comes up down off the coast of Mexico. That could be some tropical activity. Take a look at that there. That comes up. Here comes the storm system, and I mean, wow, look at that there. And that's looking even more impressive than earlier this morning. We may have an opportunity of rain, storms, possibly even some severe weather as we get into parts of next week. So the devil's in the details. Not everything is locked in, but I think we're going to go from a fairly quiet pattern this week to potentially more of an active pattern as we get into parts of next week. But let's go back up in time over the next 48 hours. There's that showery activity down along really the deep south of Texas. Again, here in North Texas, simply put, nothing going on. And again, really, that is going to be the story over the next several days, other than the opportunity of some very chilly air again first thing tomorrow morning. So otherwise, if you're heading out to the fair, there you go. We're talking about the 60s the next couple days before. That's not a misprint on Thursday. We in fact rebound the temperatures into the 80s. So generally 60s. Again, we'll call it a cool, crisp, fall-like day out there. Down to 39 overnight tonight. By the way, our record of 38 from back in 1989. So widespread 30s for overnight lows. Again, you can see a few locations may touch that freezing mark, and then we're back in the 60s even as we go through tomorrow, Wednesday. So we got 60s for a couple days, fall-like weather, but then take a look at that there. We do rebound back into the 80s, and there's that unsettled pattern early next week.